Right then folks, welcome back to Down There Jangling. Now you join us here today at the fantastic Riddings Fishery here in Grendon near Tamworth in Birmingham. And I've brought you today just to do a simple winter pleasure session. Now during the winter time I don't really fish too much, so when I go out I just like to sit back and enjoy a simple pleasure session, and that's why I brought you here today. So I'm fishing today on peg 12 on the match pool here at the Riddings, which I've not really fished this pool before. So I'm looking forward to see how it goes. So we've got a nice selection of bait and a few different methods to catch a mixed bag of fish. So I'll run you through the rigs then. So we're fishing a simple approach, a rod and a pole. That's it. One line on the rod and one line on the pole. So we've got a long line at about 9.5 metres, 10 metres straight out, and I've got two rigs for that. The rig that I've actually got on the minute is a shallow rig, which may surprise some of you during the winter time. So actually I've been catching a few of the smaller roach up in the water because it's such a deep venue. A lot of the fish like to come up to the top, so all I've done is I've just got a nice Grendon green bungee elastic, which I believe is a 6 to 8 grade elastic. I've got a Grendon 0.2 crystal dibber float to a size 014 main line. I've just got a bulk of 5 number 8s that I've put probably about half a foot underneath the float, and then a size 16 Grendon maggot, and then I'll fish that one at 9.5 metres, and then straight underneath that I've just got a rig for the deck. So this is a Preston 4x14 F1 maggot. This is one of the new dead ship floats which I've not used before, so hopefully this is going to bring out some fish. I've just got a shotting pattern of 6 number 8s that I've just spread probably about a foot down the line distance between each shot, and then on that I've just got a size 16 Grendon maggot hook as well. So I can alter the depth, I can try catch a few on the bottom and come up on the top, and I can change it around. And then lastly we've got the rod approach. Now the rod approach can change throughout the day depending on what we're catching. So I've just got an Acolyte 9 foot plus feeder, which is a nice small rod which would be perfect for bagging smaller fish and then medium sized carp or whatever we hook into. 3000 size frenzy reel, got size 16 GPM hook on, and then at the minute I've just got one of these ICS Preston systems. At the minute I've got a little feeder on, just a small 20 gram feeder, but this can change. So depending on how the day's fishing today, I can try it with a little ground bait style feeder, or if I want I could go on a bomb. I can change it up really. I've probably got a chuck of about 25-30 metre chuck, just a bit further out than obviously what the pole line is. It's just for variety, try and catch a few fish. Baits then for today, try to keep it dead simple. In here we've probably got about a pint of mixed pinkies, got some fluoro and red pinkies there, and I'll look to feed the pinkies on this shorter line, a longer line on the deck. And what I've done is I've actually mixed some of these pinkies up in some of my ground bait. Now all I've done with this ground bait is this is a bit of the F1 cool water, and then I've got a bit of Bait Tech ground bait in there, and all I've done is I've mixed in a few casters and pinkies, dead pinkies in there, and that is what I'm going to put on the feeder. That's what I'll put in it. Bulls out on the longer line as well. And then we've also got here a few pieces of punch bread, a few 6 and 8 mil pieces of bread, and then in here I've just got a 50-50 mix of, split it in half, of a few dead maggots and then a few casters, so I can change that. Because some days, like when we're catching here the silvers, you'll catch on a caster, you'll catch on a maggot, and in the same session sometimes I've had to change. I've already been fishing a little bit before recording this, and I've had a few fish on a caster, and then suddenly they've stopped and I've gone back on the maggot and I've caught a few. So it definitely seems to be working. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put a bit of ground bait, probably a big ball inside the cup, ship it out, and then we'll get on fishing straight away. Okay, so we'll ship it out. So we'll just get our cup. And all I'm planning on doing is just taking a hand-sized ball and squeezing it about that big. No bigger than that. I'll place that in the pot. And we'll just ship out to where we're fishing. I've got a far bank marker, just got a tree on the far side. line it up, and then just slowly tip it in. Now, depending on how the session goes will depend on how many balls of ground bait I feed. I'll start off on one like that and I'll go straight down over it. I might actually leave it maybe 10 or 15 minutes to get a few fish in. And then throughout the session, depending on how the fishing's going, if we're catching a lot, then I'll feed a bit more bait, and if we're struggling, then I'll try and introduce a little bit more bait. It all depends on what goes on, but I've just got some casters there. I'll be catapulting some of the casters out over the line when I'm fishing, to hopefully get some fish. So what we'll do is we'll start straight out. I'm going to start on the shallow rig to start. And all I've done is I've just got one single maggot on the hook. The reason I'm starting shallow is because when I was plumbing up and when I've been putting in a bit of bait and fish on the bottom, one thing that I noticed was there were a lot of fish swimming in the upper layers of the water. So see if I can target a few of those early. So that ball of ground bait's probably been in the water for about 10 minutes. Seeing a few fizzes on the surface, which is probably that ball of ground bait on the bottom. We're just going to ship out and we'll just slap the rig over. We're just seeing what's here at the minute because I've seen a few come around on the top, so I don't know if they're going to fish or going to feed or not. We won't stay in the shallow too long. It's purely just for experimenting. Like I said, I've seen the fish on the top, so just give it a try. Obviously, because we are in the winter months, still don't want to be feeding too much, and obviously shallow fish you need to keep feeding quite a lot, so it's going to be more of a lift and drop and slapping approach than it will be feeding constantly, what we would do during the summertime. There we go, fish on straight away. That's the sort of stamp we'll probably be catching today. I mean, we'll probably get a few bigger skimmers, but first put in, not so bad, so we'll get straight back out. And as I said, we will alter the bait, so we could try a maggot, we can try a caster. It's really what the fish want. We've got a few pieces of bread, so if we do get some slightly larger bream, or maybe a few carp into the swim, at the end of the day, it's a pleasure session, so it's all about finding what the fish want. We can take our time. I changed over my rig ever so slightly. Before I was fishing with a little crystal dibber float, but now I'm using a carp 4, because the problem is we've got a lot of small fish in the swim, and because the dibbers have got such a tiny bristle, every time that float goes down I'm striking at every indication. But with me using a slightly longer bristle, I can see those sort of little bites and little things from the smaller fish, so I know that I'm not having to strike at everything. It's just a longer line as well. So all I'm doing is I'm just shipping out. We've been fishing the same spot and we've just been loose feeding a few casters every minute. I've just been lifting and dropping it in, and shallow fishing's really been the way that we've caught the fish today. We've had quite a lot of big hard fighting roach, got a few skimmers, a few smaller fish, and it's been a really good day. We've probably got maybe, so far we've got another 30 minutes or 45 minutes after the session. We've probably got maybe £7 or £8 worth of fish in that net so far, because they've all been bigger size roach. There we go. That's another one. Probably a smaller size fish from what we've been catching today. But it's been really quick fishing, you know, we've been in and out straight away. We've had lots of fish. Right then, so we're probably about 2 hours into the session so far, and the way to catch these fish today has been shallow. Surprisingly, you know, I expect to come here and probably be a hard day and catch a few fish on the bottom, but no, that's not been the case. It's been a really good day today. Lots of positive fishing today. Just been catching them shallow. Go again. It doesn't get much better than this. It really doesn't. Winter fishing, you know, we've not brought as much tackle with us today. We've just fishing the one method, and we're catching nearly a fishy chuck. Just goes to show, you know, winter time doesn't always have to be a situation of, oh, you're not going to catch much, because I've caught more fish today than I did on the crucian pool fishing shallow in the summer. So feed a few casters. What I'm thinking of doing is maybe introducing a few worms into as a hook bait, purely to target the larger fish, because we are getting a lot of smaller fish in the swim, and we're landing in a few ounce roach or a few ounce skimmer. But since we've caught quite a lot of them, it might be better to maybe try and go for a larger stamp fish. So I might just put a worm on, chop up a bit of a worm and give that a try, or maybe try the bottom, fish on the deck, and see if we've got a few of the bigger sized bream around the bottom somewhere. Maybe a carp if we're lucky. The feed has stopped a little bit, you know, they're not as on it as they were a few minutes back, so I don't know, maybe if a bigger fish has come into the swim. Feed some more bait. Get them feeding confident. Have one more bite. If we don't get anything, we're going to come a little bit more shallow. That was a line of that. There we go. It takes 2 seconds of preparation, 2 seconds of time just to move that float back, and it's going to give you better results. Let's see if that will make a difference. Or not. I'm hoping it does. Yep, there we go. Straight away that change is giving us a big size fish. Straight away that changes produces the fish, so just goes to show that making them changes can help you. You know, it takes 2 seconds. Fishing now for about an hour and a half, and so far the fish that I've caught today have really been from the shallow line that I've been catching. And all I've been doing is I've just been feeding a single red maggot on the hook, fishing a long line between the pole tip and float, and I've just been laying it in, and then I've had loads of fish showing indications around the float, and the signs that there's a lot of small fish in the swim. So I'm getting quite rapid bites, but obviously every time I'm striking, I'm not striking into anything, so signs of smaller fish. Straight away indication there. That's really where I've been catching most of the fish today. We had a few at the start on the bottom, then that's gone a bit quiet, so I fed in another ball of ground bait, and then I've just come on this shallow line. I did fish a different style shallow rig, but the fish have gone a little bit deeper, so I've just changed the rig over. I've got a 0.3 grendon carp 4 on. That wouldn't ain't very good. I've just been laying the hook bait in. Single red maggot seemed to work so far. We've been catching quite a nice sized roach from this line. There we go. That's another one. So right, so these are the net of fish that we've caught today. We've been fishing for about 3 hours here at the Riddings, and what a venue, what an absolute blast of a day we've had. We've caught a mixed bag of roach and skimmers, and then top it all off with these two big bruty carp that we've had. Fishing shallow all day has really been the way to catch them. Right, thank you all for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you later.